Hi everyone, Joe Vitale, American Retirement Advisors with the Gradient Investments weekly talking points for the week ending December 2nd, 2022. Let's get into stocks. Equities were higher across the major indices last week after the Federal Reserve Chair spoke at an event on Wednesday. The U.S. benchmark S&P 500 rose 1.19%. The Russell 2000 was up 1.33%, and the NASDAQ added 2.12%, even though they're all down this week. But we'll get into that next week. So, overseas, the developed markets, which is the EFA, increased 1.06%, and the emerging markets added 3.51%. In the U.S., the best performing sectors were communication services and consumer discretionary were the laggards. Energy and financials were the laggards. Fixed income, the Federal Chair Jerome Powell raised expectations that the central bank will slow its rate increases in December after a series of 75 basis points, which is 0.75% hikes, while also stressing that the Fed's fight to tame inflation will extend into 2023. The 10-year Treasury ended the week down 17 basis points to 3.51, which is down nearly 75 or 0.75% over the past 6 weeks. I will tell you also, the 2-year Treasury is a lot higher than the 10-year right now, which is of course the inverted yield curve for inflation. It's a precursor. So we've been talking about not the inflation but recession. We've been talking about, pending recession. Are we in? All the indicators are there. We're starting to see some slowing, some tightening. It's not the end of the world, but we are going to see some pullbacks. We are going to see recession, and it's already happening right now. Hopefully they're hoping for a soft landing where it's not going to be a real deep recession, but we'll see. But all things being equal, as long as we're allocated properly, we can weather the storm. Not a big deal. We've been through this before. Let's get into commodities. OPEC, which is led by Saudi Arabia and Russia, decided not to make any changes to the group's oil production targets. However, it said the same oil producer cartel was ready to meet at any time, whatever that means, and could take immediate additional measures. Note the European Union will ban seaborne Russian oil imports beginning today in retaliation for Moscow's invasion of the Ukraine. Let's talk about economic data. The economy grew at 2.9% annual rate in September quarter versus June quarter, revised up from 2.6%. Now this follows 2 quarters of declines, and the upward revision was fueled by consumer spending, while the largest growth factor was the significant decline of the trade deficit. A key gauge of U.S. inflation is the personal consumption expenditure. The PCE index rose a modest 0.3% in October, while the core PCE, which strips out food and energy, edged up to 0.2%, each slightly below consensus estimate. On an annual basis, inflation slowed to 6% and 5% for PCE and core PCE respectively, and from 40-year highs earlier this year. Online sales of Black Friday rose 2.3% from a year ago, record of $9.1 billion, kicking off a solid start to the holiday shopping season despite inflation and economic concerns. You wonder that number's up a bit. It could be because of inflation. Let's talk about it. Everything is a little bit more expensive, so it's kind of hard to really say how good it is, but it is very positive still. In total, holiday sales will increase by 6% to 8% this year. This has dropped 1.2% in September from the prior month from the 20 largest metro markets, in line with consensus expectations. Data reflects 6 months of deceleration in housing prices across the U.S. On a year-over-year basis, prices rose 10.4%, the slowest rate of appreciation in 2 years. Now, non-farm payrolls rose by 263,000 last month, well ahead of the consensus expectations for 200,000. This marks a significant drop from the upwardly revised 284,000 increases in October. Job listings declined from 10.7 million in September, having reached a peak of 11.9 million in March. Okay, let's get into some company news. Boston Scientific Corp., which is a Corselet, Contrarian, and G33 holding, announced the acquisition of Apollo Endosurgery, which develops products used in laparoscopic surgery for patients with gastrointestinal disorders and morbid obesity. Shares rose 5.5% for the week. Five Below, which is a G33 holding, reported sales and earnings that far exceeded expectations, and that sales accelerated as the quarter progressed. Management guidance for the holiday quarter is better than a consensus estimate, so shares were up 13.94% for the week. And Splunk, which is a contrarian choice, Core Select, and G33 holding, rose 13.22% for the week after management reported revenue, earnings, and cash flow that exceeded analysts' expectations. Additional revenue and earnings and cash flow guidance of the cybersecurity firm were raised for the coming year. And that's it for this week's market update. We thank you so much for being part of our ARA family. To contact us, of course, call us at 855-756-5700. Visit our website, ARA Advisors Inc. Don't forget to visit our Facebook and YouTube pages. Scan our QR code to get our newsletter. Share it with friends, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. God bless you. We'll see you soon.